Alright, hello everybody. We've got another weekly forecast for you all, this time between October 7th and October 13th. We have a potential winter storm heading into the northern plains, as well as some precipitation, some much needed precipitation, finally making its way into parts of the northeast. All of that in this upcoming week, so let's just jump right into it with the European model, and then we will look at our precipitation and temperature anomalies for this upcoming week shortly after. So, starting early portions of this week, you can see we do have this area of showers making its way into the mid-Atlantic and southern New England. Many of these areas are experiencing drought conditions, so this is definitely going to be beneficial for this upcoming week, as many of these areas will receive anywhere from ½ an inch to as much as 2 inches of rainfall. So that will definitely put a damper on the droughts. Heading into midweek, you can see that we do have a low pressure developing over the eastern Rockies. This will, or at least what we think it will happen, is it will make its way northeast across the Central Plains. Keep in mind, look at this, we are still 5 days out, so don't take anything, too, exact, just because we are too verbatim, just because we're so far out still. Sometimes 5 days can be an eternity, coming from somebody who, constantly watches models in the winter. We see things change run to run, so this will probably change multiple times. But looking at the European model, we do have this area of heavy snowfall in the western Dakotas, and also some snow in the western Nebraska area, and also northern Colorado. It doesn't have too much for Denver on the European model, but it still has some on the backside. Now, that is wraparound, so I would not bet on that really, just because wraparound precip tends to not be too reliable. It often shows up 4 or 5 days out on models, and then doesn't end up happening. But that moves out by the weekend, and then we do have a weakening cold shot coming in behind it. So it really won't make its way into the eastern U.S. So that is why we will see temperature anomalies really not go too far below average in the eastern U.S. So let's look at, where are we? So let's look at temperature anomalies heading into this upcoming week on the European model. So you can see much of the week, or much of the eastern, actually really much of the whole U.S. starts off the week above average temperature-wise. Then we have the shot of well below average temperatures coming into the central U.S. And then that spreads east, but as you can see, it really just fizzles out. It really doesn't even make its way into the southeast. And then by, this is 10 days out, so we're just going to cover this week. But really the core of below average temperatures sits in the western, or in the northern Rockies and northern plains, and it does make its way into the central plains, but that should be relatively short-lived. You can already see it exiting the area by this upcoming weekend. So the northern plains will definitely see well below average temperatures, and you can see this is, 25 degrees below average possible. So it could challenge some records in a few areas. Wouldn't call it historic, but, it could definitely be record challenging. So let's jump into the snowfall amounts. Here we go on the Euro. You can see in the western Dakotas, well, much of North Dakota, but really west and South Dakota, that's where you see areas of 6 inches plus. Let's make this full screen real quick. So, like I said, this is 5 days out. 6 days out. So wouldn't take it too verbatim. We'll definitely have change. But this is looking at the European. Let's look at the GFS. I'd say this is a lot more unrealistic. Would not bet on this at all. If you were in Minnesota or eastern South Dakota or eastern Nebraska or Iowa, would not bet on it. You may see some people claiming there's going to be this big storm in Iowa and Minnesota, and they're going to get feet in Minneapolis. No, it's just not going to happen. There's about maybe a 2-3% chance it's going to happen, but I'd say the European is a lot more likely, just looking at climatology and looking at just the scheme of things, what seems a lot more realistic, just because so much of the snowfall in the GFS comes from back-end snow, and that just doesn't really happen, so the solution's already looking rather unrealistic. So once again, I'd say the European has a better handle on this with these lower snowfall amounts and also further west. Just, this is mid-October. You can't really expect these big, these massive snowstorms in the north central plains, these huge wraparound blizzards. It's probably just not going to happen. But with that said, it still will be a substantial storm for the area if it does hold up. So let's look at precipitation outlook. You can see in the north central plains that storm is reflected on a precipitation outlook with well below average precipitation. Also in the central Mississippi Valley, well above average precip. Heading into the northeast, we do have above average precip in much of the northern plains and also Great Lakes. Then we have an area of below average precip in the southeast. This is not going to help the drought down there. Also in the central plains and also in the northwest, areas that aren't shaded in anything are looking at about average precipitation this upcoming week. Temperature outlook, you can see that cold shot from that low pressure system in the central plains midweek being reflected on the outlook overall, as the well below average anomalies will shape our map despite a warm early week start. So slightly below average temps heading into the south central plains and also Sierra Nevada mountains, that area, the Intermontane West, and then heading into the eastern U.S., you can see slightly above average temperatures this week. Pretty close to average, but since that cold shot will really fizzle out on its way east, we don't really expect it to impact the eastern U.S. too much. So about average, slightly above average temperatures for this upcoming week in the eastern U.S. So that is all for this week's weekly forecast. If you like these kind of videos and are looking forward to more winter outlooks and also forecast videos during this upcoming winter, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and also it would be greatly appreciated if you would tag a like on this video, as it will help grow the channel in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned for more.